This incident unfolded during a road trip I embarked on, returning from spending the holidays with my family. Normally, I prefer flying and avoid driving for extended periods, but this time the airfare to my destination was exorbitant, over $1,000 for a round-trip flight within just a few states. Despite meticulous planning to return a few days before work, a sudden snowstorm on the day of departure forced me to delay my journey by an extra 2 days. Navigating the nearly deserted roads post-holiday rush, far from major cities, presented its challenges. The constant battle against drowsiness and boredom was the toughest part. The initial 8 hours passed without incident, aided by the snow-covered road keeping me awake and alert. Around 10 p.m., with a hotel booked 2 hours ahead in a small town, a small light appeared in my rearview mirror. It was the headlights of a vehicle rapidly approaching, the first I'd seen on the road in over an hour. As the lights grew larger, revealing a sizable van, I expected it to overtake me swiftly. However, to my surprise, it matched my speed and trailed closely for almost 10 minutes. The unnerving part was being the only 2 vehicles on the road, with this massive van tailing me at an uncomfortably close distance. It wasn't a typical following distance. They were so near that I couldn't even see their front bumper or license plate in my mirror. Despite my unease, an exit for a gas station approached. I decided to turn off, hoping the van would continue straight, allowing me to create some distance. But as I veered off, the van followed, maintaining its proximity. I pulled into the gas station and parked at a pump, the van pulling in behind me. At this point, uncertainty clouded my mind. Part of me feared the worst, while another dismissed it as an overreaction. Knowing it was the only gas station for the past 30 minutes, I considered the possibility that they also needed fuel. Turning off my car, I surveyed the dimly lit, closed gas station. The surroundings were desolate. No houses, no buildings, just an empty, snowy field with a solitary road cutting through it. Glancing in my mirror, I saw a man outside the van, pumping gas. I cautiously stepped out and began refueling. As the numbers on the gas meter slowly ticked, the man swiftly returned his pump and sealed his gas cap. He walked to the back of the van, and then I heard the unmistakable ratcheting sound of the rear door being lifted open. In that moment, a gut feeling or instinct urged me to leave immediately. I pulled the pump out of my car. Within seconds, 3 men were sprinting towards me from behind the van. Trembling, I dropped the pump, jumped into my car, and locked the doors just as one of them tried to rip it open. Shaking, I quickly started the engine. The men circled the car, attempting each door, before abruptly sprinting back to their van. I sped away and they drove off in the opposite direction. I reported the incident to the police but received no updates. It's evident they were attempting something sinister under the cover of night on the isolated highway. What's chilling is their confidence and professionalism, fleeing without a word to each other as soon as they realized their plan wouldn't unfold effortlessly. The unanswered question lingers. What would have happened if they had succeeded in abducting me? I can only speculate. Learn from my experience and stay vigilant, as you might not be as fortunate as I was. In 2019, I worked as a delivery driver for a pizza joint near my school. Most days after classes, I'd hit the road to make ends meet, covering car expenses and rent. While not the greatest job in the world, it was sufficient to keep me from going completely broke during my college days. This particular night started like any other. I clocked in at 6 o'clock, delivered for 3 straight hours, took a lunch break, and resumed at 9:30. I picked up the next order, and the destination's address raised some eyebrows. Didn't look like a typical residential location. Instead, the GPS guided me to a business center, further away from town, surrounded by small office buildings and nothing else. Driving down the road, I couldn't discern the addresses, so I relied on the GPS directions, hoping it would lead me to the correct parking lot. Upon turning in, I traversed a lengthy parking area until I reached the front of a building. I checked the address, matching it with the order, but something felt off. The parking lot was deserted. No streetlights, no signs of life inside the office building. I double-checked the address, thinking there might be a mistake. Everything lined up, and a Google search confirmed it. This was the place. parked, got out, scanned the surroundings, and approached the glass door with a dark tint. After knocking, I took a step back, waiting. The door swung open, revealing a middle-aged man in casual attire, wearing a small grin. He expressed excitement, claiming the food had finally arrived for the hungry crowd in the rec room on the 3rd floor, hosting a company party. I glimpsed behind him, seeing only a single light in the hallway. Despite the odd vibe, I smiled politely and informed him of the total. He handed me cash and a generous $10 tip. However, he then requested an additional favor, help bringing the pizzas to the 3rd floor. Caught in a dilemma, I felt obligated after accepting the tip. Yet, carrying a few pizzas didn't seem necessary. Undeterred, the man led the way to a door, revealing a stairwell with a rush of cold air and all lights off, except for a faint glow from the hallway. As we ascended, he cracked a joke about the lights, but my discomfort grew. I stopped, maintaining distance. Suddenly, his demeanor changed, and anger flashed in his eyes as he rushed down towards me. In a split second, I tossed the pizzas, bolted out of the door, raced through the hallway, and sprinted to my car. Glancing back, I saw the man partially emerge from the front doors before slamming them shut. I immediately called the police from a different parking lot. By the time they arrived, the man had vanished. Since he paid in cash, his true identity remained elusive. The office building, empty and devoid of others on the 3rd floor, indicated it was some kind of trap. What awaited me on that 3rd floor remains unknown. I hope no one ever has to find out. In 2019, I worked for my dad's small construction business, managing deliveries and material transport. My routine involved driving materials back and forth, ensuring everything was in place before the workers arrived at the job sites. Being only 17 at the time, my role was essentially that of a gopher. During busy weeks, I had to start work as early as 2 or 3 a.m. to ensure timely deliveries. This was mainly during the summer when I didn't have school, leaving me with no excuse to shirk my responsibilities. I found solace in the early deliveries, the calm atmosphere, and the absence of someone constantly instructing me on what to do. However, one particular day took an unexpected turn. Arriving at the warehouse at 3 a.m., I loaded up and set out for a repair job on an old, possibly abandoned building at the edge of town. Upon reaching the site, I noticed an unfamiliar truck parked outside with its lights off, seemingly deserted. Given the ungodly hour, I didn't expect anyone to be working, and it definitely wasn't a company vehicle. Tinted windows obscured the interior, and a call-out yielded no response. Feeling uneasy, I called my dad, but he didn't answer. Assuming it was just a worker's personal truck left behind, I continued unloading the materials. After about an hour, as I drove away, a chilling sight unfolded in my rearview mirror. The truck's lights suddenly flickered to life. I slammed on my brakes, watching as the truck backed out. Panic set in when I realized someone had been inside the whole time, and it definitely wasn't a worker. Desperate, I dialed my dad's number again while the truck pulled up beside me. Tension mounted as the driver stared back at me through tinted windows. Trying to escape, I drove forward, but the truck matched my speed, blocking my way. Panic turned to terror as I reversed, only to have the truck follow suit, tapping the rear of my car, sending me careening off the road into a tree. The truck abruptly halted, seemingly poised to confront me. However, their brake lights extinguished, and they sped away. Just moments later, another car arrived with a worker, witnessing the tail end of the incident. He identified the other truck as Samuel's, a worker my dad had hired a few months earlier. Investigations revealed missing tools and materials amounting to nearly $10,000, all disappearing on that fateful night. It seemed Samuel had been pilfering items gradually over the past few months. The chilling revelation was that Samuel, fearing exposure, tried to prevent me from being a witness. The worker who arrived later explained that Samuel's name and information didn't check out. He might have been an illegal immigrant or a felon with fake or stolen IDs and work documents. I never anticipated such a sinister twist. While it's unlikely I'll encounter Samuel again, the haunting memory of that night lingers. The chilling realization is that, had I disappeared, he might have escaped justice entirely.